Every successful business has a story that people know and another that people don't. The late nights, the tears, the sweat, the mistakes, the failure, the wins, the success stories. To uncover all of these decisions, challenges, and breakthroughs that actually drive growth, Ecobank Nigeria presents to you Scaling Up. We're bringing together founders, creators, and industry leaders to have honest conversations about what it really takes to build, grow, and scale. No fluff, no filters, just practical stories and insights that you can actually use. So get ready to learn, be inspired, and hear the stories and journeys behind these brands. Scaling Up, powered by Ecobank. Everybody talks about success, the fame, the visibility, the numbers, but very few people take out time to talk about what it truly takes to build something that lasts. The risk, the reinventing, the systems, the setbacks, and of course, the people behind the scenes quietly shaping culture, business, and entire industries. And honestly, that's where the real story is. Welcome to Scaling Up, powered by Ecobank Nigeria. I'm your host, Maima, and on this podcast, we sit with Africa's most influential builders, creators, and industry leaders to unpack real stories behind growth, impact, influence, and longevity. According to Spotify's 2025 Loud and Clear report, Nigerian artists generated over 60 billion naira in royalties from Spotify alone last year, which raises an even bigger question. Where is the money really made in the music industry? Is it from streaming, live shows, endorsements, influence, or the business structures behind staying relevant long enough after the records hit? Honestly, I can't think of a better person to kick this conversation off with. Today's guest is not just a music producer, he's one of the architects behind some of the most defining sounds, movements, and talents in Nigerian music industry. From discovering and shaping iconic artists to helping redefine indigenous music in Nigeria, his impact stretches far beyond music. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the legendary ID Cabasa. Thank you again for coming. We're really excited to have you
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Okay, so before the success, before the influence, before the impact, what did the early phase of your journey really look like?
Okay, I was actually, let me say, I stumbled into music out of trying to prove a point. Yeah, because I grew up in the church, and in my early days in the church, I was told by somebody that you have no business doing music.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started learning musical instruments mostly on my own. I was listening to people sing, just trying to get stuff started. And let me say fortunately, but it was an unfortunate thing. I wanted to do music at some point when I was in my junior secondary school, but I discovered that I passed this GSE stuff so well. And the normal thing they do then is they move you to science class. And
Oh, yes.
I had the journey of being a science student, got into the university to study medicine.
Wow, medicine.
Yeah. So I had to switch at some point to study economics. After studying economics, I worked in the banking industry. Funny enough, this building happens to be the last place with Oceanic Bank that I actually did stuff. I worked briefly with Savannah Bank, then with Oceanic. It was during my time with Oceanic Bank that I would say I had this notion that I think what you find in music, you don't really find it in banking. I was excited to do music. I was always looking forward to create something that I believe when people listen to, the effect it actually has on them. And that in itself, I think, is purpose. Because most of us, we look at purpose from the place of what we do. Rather, I think purpose is the effect of what we do. The effect on people is actually
so what we
purpose.
do, the effect that has on people, that's purpose.
Yeah, which is purpose. And that was the point that I was like, look, if you perish, you perish. Just go on and do this thing. So I was studying for my master's, started working in some studios. I would go to class in the morning. evening time, at night, I'm back in the studio. And for me, that was how
It kicked off.
it all kicked off.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So coded tunes became one of the most culturally important music movements in Nigeria. At the time, did you realize you were building something historic, or were you just simply trying to create opportunities?
I think the latter is more
Mm,
of it, that I was trying to
great.
create opportunities for people that naturally or normally they will not get a chance
Mm,
to do stuff. I know I was also building something that was bigger than me,
mm,
which I know those days I could sit down and I could not really figure out, but I know I was heading
mm,
somewhere.
mm.
So I thought what it was just build like a platform where guys that normally will not have the opportunity of
Digital.
going into the studio. The studios were pretty expensive
It's
those days to
mm,
make music then. If you look at the money then to now, in
mm,
value, people might say it was cheaper, but it was actually expensive. To raise 8,000 naira then
mm,
for a studio session was a whole lot. So for me, it was not just myself. I think I should also mention the likes of Too Fat and some of
mm,
my crew guys that look, there are a lot of good guys around Yaba, Bariga, and all of that. We grew up in Akoka. That let's create more like a system where we would not only make music good, we'll make sure we make good music. I know how to make music.
mm.
And we will also look for ways to promote, push. We're all educated, so we also understand a bit of not necessarily music business, but we know what needed to be done for a
Done.
product. I
Mm,
studied economics, so
mm,
I understand what a product is, how to actually take it to the final consumer. So we built a team around ourselves. Let's just that. Then along the line, I discovered the part of the cultural relevance of it, which was why,
mm.
if you notice, most of the guys that came from us were using indigenous language
Language,
to
yes,
actually.
yes, yes.
The indigenous language thing was more like, it's funny, let's do it. Then we found out that people are getting to understand some of the things that if we speak too much of English,
Mm.
they won't get to understand. Then they are
It became
people, yeah,
relatable.
people love culture, they love their language, they love
Mm,
when they hear themselves
mm,
in a thing. You know, it's like saying I'm teaching chemistry in Yoruba. People will understand better,
mm.
especially because it's your
It's
nature. You
indigenous,
understand? It's
yes.
indigenous to you. So that was when I knew we were building something bigger than just helping some couple of guys to more like we are building something that will become. I think that I had one interview. Somebody showed me an interview that I did. I think it was around 2006, and it was not. I won't say it was like it was actually me predicting that there will be a sound that will be known to Nigeria, which
Mm.
is what we see as
Afrobeat.
Afrobeat now. They
Mm.
sent it to me, and the guy was like saying, so I knew we were heading somewhere, but it was not too clear. But I know it was something big, and I think that is vision. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Follow-up question. What did you see in artists like Olamide and Nice before the rest of the industry saw it?
So I was looking then. When you come to me, I want to see the younger. Are
Mm,
you really? Because when people say they are passionate about music, the problem with our definition of passion is like, and passion is not like. Passion is actually you are ready to carry a burden.
mm,
You are ready to suffer. You are
mm,
ready to wait. No wonder that movie, Passion of the Christ, was about
mm.
beating Jesus
Yes.
and all of those things. So it's more something that you are ready to suffer for. So I
Mm.
look out for that part of passion. I look out of people that have this reckless abandonment that look, if I die,
If I perish,
then
I
I
perish. It's
perish.
music or
So
nothing. Mm.
Nice had that, Ajasa had that, Lamide had that. Almost all the guys that I actually groomed then, they all have that. They all, like Olamide's own was even funny. Olamide was like, I gave him, I think I've shared the story many times, where I gave him a piece of paper with some other guys to write what they want. And Ola just wrote there, bros, I want to be heard.
Mm.
So that for me was passion. That was me, was that passion of if I perish, I perish. So I look out for that. I also look out for your mind.
Mm.
Are you deep enough to, when I say deep, I'm not saying complicated, but I'm saying, how do you treat music? Do you see it as just vibes or vibe and
How do
inshallah?
you
Or,
process it?
yeah,
Yeah.
or are you a storyteller?
Hello.
Do you have an end game
Mm.
to what you are doing? So And you will see all of this. And it's not really hard. What I do is I keep you around me. I keep testing you. Once I notice that you are writing, from the way you are writing, from the way you are living, I can tell some of these things. So those were the things personally I was looking for then. Then along the line came the part of branding the artist, where some of my friends had to now raise it that, look, I do, you are a creative person. You really care about people branding and all of that. So we also started looking out for. Then I think this one is also important to mention, that you have to be teachable. You are the like that you want, all you want to do is to argue to win. Sincerely, even if you are the most talented person, I don't want to work with you. So these were some of the things I actually looked out for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, when people talk about music or the music industry, they see all the fame, they see the visibility, I'm going to become popular and stuff like that. However, not a lot of people understand the business behind it. So what point did you realize that music could become a serious business financially in terms of profit?
So I personally, I was never a guy that was given to being popular. People knew my name before they saw my face. Because I knew that I wanted to work behind the scene. But there's also, now to come to the business, that you work behind the scene does not mean that you should not be seen. In terms of your brand, people must know you exist. You understand? People, there's this thing about fame that we've demonized it, or we fail to understand that as much as we demonize it, it is actually something that you need. The misunderstanding that we have about fame is that once you become famous, you become arrogant, which is not so.
So, yes.
Even I'm a Christian, I've read scriptures. Genesis 12, where God was talking to Abraham, was telling him he was going to make him famous. Because that is what, I will make your name great. That is what it means.
Yeah.
Even all the people that we look up to and all of that, it was because they are famous, which is why we actually look up to them. But so for me, when I was started off, I was not coming up to be famous. But I found out that, look, part of the business is to be famous.
It requires it.
You understand? It requires that I have to be famous. Then I also came in as a passionate guy that just wanted to do music that people will like. But I found out that that in itself is not sustainable. If you don't learn to commercialize what you are actually doing, you will become so talented but broke. You become so famous, which is even, that one is depressing. You become famous but broke. So at the end of the day, people start to look beyond what made you famous. They are looking at, is this person living well and all of that. So I think for me, that was around 2004 when it started from me studying a book. And I saw that, which is the biggest problem in the music industry. People think the creatives control the music industry. No. The music industry is mostly curated by lawyers, accountants, and investors. You as a creative, that chess game, you're like the pawn. Everybody is in the room.
Playing to get their profit.
You are also in the room, but you are not at the table, you are on the menu.
Ooh.
So you are the guy that everybody wants to exploit, everybody wants to get into,
and then make
take
profit
a
of
share,
it.
and at the end of the day, whatever comes to you is like the crumbs that should keep you comfortable, which is what I would tell artists. Don't always settle. Once human beings are not created, if you are created to be great, you cannot settle. You must understand that you have to be on the move. So what they do within that space, I found out in 2024, is they try to make you settle. You have a car, you have a house, and you have all of that. But life itself is bigger than just being successful and comfortable. So when I discovered that, I started learning about the music business. There's the business of music, which is making it. That one, I know it. Then the music business itself, which is exploiting what. When I started, I know about publishing, I know about royalties, I know about. But if you notice, from 2004 to this is 2026, a lot has changed.
Yes.
A whole lot has changed.
Yes.
Right now,
streaming has come in.
Streaming is not even the problem. AI is tampering with your IP laws and all of that. And a lot is still happening. And you cannot say because you're a creative person, you will not learn what is happening. As a creative person that is into the music industry, you have to understand that You are also an AI agent where you are studying the algorithm, you are studying where the algorithm is going, you are studying what AI does not know, and all. So it's a whole lot. I think for me, when I discovered that I also need, because I was leaving banking, which was sure money every month.
Yeah.
And the only way I was still living with my parents, the only way they will even look to me and say, okay, you are free to do music, is to make sure that I also sort that part of it. And you cannot sort that part if you don't understand it. No, it's fine if I say the basic part of music business, but as you scale up, as you grow, you will need to know much more so that you will not be leaving too much money on the table and you are thinking you are comfortable. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, you've literally answered my next question. I was going to ask where the real money was, and then you said it's not in the artist or the creative per se. It's in the people playing behind the scene.
The people playing behind the scene.
Awesome, awesome. So, was there ever a moment where you questioned the industry, basically the music industry, and then your place in it at any point in time in your career?
I question it every time till now. I question it.
Why?
So, like I said, a lot of things are evolving. There's no way you want to grow that you don't have this, you don't retrospect on certain things like, are you sure you still have a stake in this thing? Are you sure your relevance can still sustain this thing? Are you sure? In fact, one of the biggest problems with most creatives is imposter syndrome, where you start to impersonate yourself, you start to ask yourself some funny questions like, am I even sure of this thing that I'm till this morning? I think I still ask. I do that every morning, by the way. So, but I don't ask from the place of doubt. I ask from the place of, I want to build up enough faith to be able to forge forward. Because I started early. Not early. Yeah, I think I started.
When you should have started.
I should have started, but I've been in the industry for a while. And I am humble enough to know that what I don't know is more than what I know about the industry. So I'm humble enough to be open to learn new stuff that are coming in. And I'm also humble enough to understand that, look, some of these things, they change per time. In fact, the speed at which they change nowadays is so crazy. It was, let's say, 2-3 years ago, we were still shooting massive budget videos.
Yes.
Now, nobody's shooting that.
I mean, a TikTok video will take you viral.
The algorithm is pushing all of that. And, if you get too loyal to what has worked, you'll get stuck.
When your daily operations feel stuck in the 90s, you know you are not scaling. Founders don't need counters, slips, or delays. They need speed, structure, and visibility. That's why we built Ecobank Business, designed for SMEs and startups that don't have time for friction. Track every inflow and outflow in real time. Manage invoices and pay bills from one dashboard. No more switching banks or juggling apps, just seamless control. Stop operating manually. Start operating like a modern business. Ecobank Business, your growth partner. Download the Ecobank Business app today and power your next move.
There's that part of, if I don't question my relevance, I will only be, pardon my English, masturbating mentally. Where I will be the one enjoying
but
what
then
I
people
think
are not,
people have either moved on or they don't even.
They're not feeling your impact. Yes.
So that, I think, for every creative, you need to always when you get to that point, depression can set in. But that was why I said, don't tackle it from the place of there's no way out. Tackle it more from the place of, I want to tell myself the truth so that I can move on. And most times when you do that, you actually see ways and how to actually navigate.
Yeah, so basically pausing, doing a self-appraisal, and then understanding where you're not doing what is right. So if you're not jumping on if you're not doing the right thing to ensure that you're forging forward, you recalibrate and then you
that
push.
Recalibration is
very important. Awesome. So the industry has changed massively over the years. From CD sales, we've moved to streaming, digital platforms, brand partnerships, global touring. Now we have AI dragging IP with us and everything. What do you think has been the biggest financial shift in the music industry?
So if you look at what makes the most money to date, it's still touring. their performance.
Mm.
But it's also relative. If you're an unknown artist, probably an indie artist, I'm telling you, you won't be making so much money from that because people don't know you. So for all of these things that you mentioned, I think the one that I think it's relative to where you are. If you're an A-list artist like the Bonner, Wiz, and all of that, you make so much money from shows, from touring. You know, you're charging hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even $1 million, which your streaming might not be able to give to you in a month and all of that. But for an indie artist that is just building a brand, that is just building up, most of their monies comes from the place of streaming. You understand? They make their money from streaming. Also, there's the part of the merchandise that we also sell. That too, I know a lot of artists make money from merch. They make monies from this, especially when, whether you're an indie artist or an A-list artist, if you might need to understand building communities. You understand? Even when people, you said CDs and all, if I tell you that people still sell physical records, you'll be shocked.
Wow.
Recently, I released an album last year, and in my head, I'm looking at, let me even sell. I still know people that wants to still buy the CDs that more like a collection item. Let me still sell them. People still make money from that. People still do the vinyl, whatever.
Yes.
Olamide did an album, was it 3 years ago? This Kuti, whatever. He did the vinyl. I have it at home. And
it's a vintage piece.
So it's relative to what you're doing. For the brand endorsement, it's almost like a supplementary form of making money. It's not, you don't have control over that.
So
if the brands, it's not a core. If the brands don't come, you still have to earn money. Then there's a part of the sync licensing. And when we say streaming, what people just look at is what your streaming platform gives to you. There is so much money on the table. You have your sync licensing, you have your publishing, you have a whole lot still on the table that can be gotten. But let's say for now, the major one is still when you go for shows, you go touring and all of that, which is why I normally advise artists now. We have more recording artists in Nigeria than performing artists. We have more songs being recorded. And unfortunately, AI is going to demystify that. Because if all you do is you just record songs.
But AI can't perform, so that's where you stand out.
Yeah, that is where you are going to eventually stand out, where you now perform what you have recorded, where you now, which is one of the reasons why I'm so much in love with Bonner. When I see Bonner on stage with those, with his band and all of the things that he does, and even when he sings, you get to hear the same thing you are hearing from the same thing with Ashake. You see Olamide perform nowadays, you see that band, you see so I think the guys at the top are even working harder. Yeah, there are a couple of other younger guys too that I think they are taking this thing serious. You know, you look at Odumodu, I've seen Odumodu, I've seen Luna. Luna toured. In fact, Luna for me is crazy. I think he understands where the business is going. When you build a community, everywhere you go to, you are able to build communities. Because at the end of the day, those communities are no longer your fan. They become your disciples. You understand? They become your disciples. They follow you anywhere you go. So that for me is something that should be thought of.
Awesome. So at what point does an artist become commercially valuable to brands and endorsements?
When you start becoming popular.
When you become known. Awesome.
Yeah, when you become known. So let me even say this about fame, which is where we need to be careful. So that we won't just be looking at it's just to become popular. Then the next thing you want to do is to create a nuisance. Either you release your nude and all of that. People need to understand that traction is a function of popularity and acceptance. Some people are popular, but they are not accepted. Some people are accepted, they are not popular. If you now have both merged together, that is a force to reckon with. So when you become popular, brands will come for you, you have to also pay attention to acceptance. No brand wants to actually align themselves with somebody that does not have a good reputation. They don't want to align themselves with
anything unnecessarily controversial.
Anything controversial, anything that is going to make people see their brand in the light of nuisance there. They don't want to invest in your nuisance value. They want somebody that people will say, I like this person's music, or I like this person as an actor, but I also like the way this person carried themselves, which is where artist branding needs to now come in and all of that.
Awesome. So what does today's artists misunderstand? What do they misunderstand about longevity structure and building sustainable careers? What's that misunderstanding that they have?
I think everybody is playing a short-term game now. So nobody is thinking futuristic. No, I won't say nobody. Some of them are actually thinking futuristic. A lot of them actually. I know quite a number of them. And some of them that I'm not even close to, I know they are building something that will. So that still takes us back to the place of acceptability. Acceptability is you building beyond trend. Is you building. What if you trend today, like the way we know it, it doesn't last.
Yes, I mean, it'll come and go. Something else will trend.
There is a need for you to create something that generation to come will still find truth in what you have created, which is where making classic records, making stuff. Recently, I was revisiting some of the old catalog that I have with Nice, with like Olufune, Star Plus, and all of that. You know, the nostalgia that gives. Beyond the nostalgia, you can still see from the stories on those songs, you can still see them that they are relevant today.
Yes,
truth is the only thing that will be relevant from beginning till we leave here.
Yes.
So there is a need for most of them to play the long game of sometimes losing the battle of trend to win the war of longevity, which is where you now need to have an essence. Let me use not hard essence to why you are doing what you are doing. Don't just do it for the sake of today. Do it to thinking, okay, in the next 10 years, probably in the 20 years, when I stop singing actively, will my stuff still be relevant? Fela died since 1998 thereabout. Until date, his music, we are still hearing some of his music. Some of the OGs that we have too, some of them have not even released music in a while, but what they have created, you understand, is still relevant. And I think in this generation, there are still some of them, by the way, that I think their music will still be relevant come few years from now. So any artist that is, don't play the game of just winning. Play the game of always to remain in the league, to keep playing. You understand? So that you don't just win, then you lose your accessibility. Let me use Premier League to still be in the Premier League.
I completely agree with you. I remember recently I was at an event and they played Call My Name. And when I interacted with Call My Name the first time, I was a child. Sure. And I didn't it was just lyrics for us with nice tunes. But now as a woman, I'm listening to Call My Name and I can literally I understand it. I've experienced some of these moments and it's very relatable. So you're absolutely right. Now you've remained relevant across multiple eras of Nigerian music. How have you managed to evolve? Because whether we like it or not, Nigerian music has evolved. I mean, we have a sound. There's a niche sound with Nigerian music. And you've managed to stay relevant across all of these eras. How have you managed to evolve without losing your identity? So
I think this should even explain it. I started wearing this because I was trying to copy Shobule. So where is revolution now? Me, I'm evolution now. I want to keep, so evolving, it requires humility, the ability to learn. Then your recognition that you are ignorant at every point, because most of what you know will expire. Experience will lead you to a point, but you don't trust experience 100%. You know, I said something earlier that it's almost like becoming loyal to what has worked. I would normally say this, that the experience is the comb life gives to you after you have lost your hair. That it might not necessarily be useful again. So for you to keep evolving, there is a need for you to be meek. Don't let me even use humble, because if you are broke, you can be humble. But you need to be meek. Meekness is you are powerful, yet you choose
Choose
to
humility.
listen. You understand? So you need to be meek to understand that, look, time and a lot is changing. Generation is changing. Generation, when we say generation, people forget that the first 4 letters in that word actually means gene, which means there will be different genes coming together, mutating, creating new languages, creating new, let me use language as a computer person, it will create new language. The generations that came before that particular generation, you will get confused when the new generation is speaking their language. And most times, if you are not humble or meek enough, you start to criticize what the new generation is doing. You criticize the language, you criticize the output. You start to criticize the things you don't like, not because they are wrong. So you become more like a Pharisee.
And then you make it hard for people in that system.
Yes.
Because you're not looking, you don't have fast sight, basically.
So me, I've learned, and I thank God for the people that surrounds me. I've learned to be aware that ID, you can be wrong. You might not know. You might not have the answer. So every day I am hungry. My hunger is the reason why I keep on evolving. And I also don't want to be seen as somebody that already is full. I want to be seen as somebody that, okay, this guy is still empty, is still open to actually learn more and get to so that in itself will help you to understand what is happening in every generation. Don't listen to a new generation only from the lens of where you are coming from. You know, it's like driving. You are trying to go forward. If you need to see what is happening at your back, you are still looking forward at the rear mirror, which is very small. That is how you treat where you are coming from. But in the grander face of things, you need to look at what is happening forward. When Amapiano came into being, I struggled with the log drum because I'm more of, let's express ourselves using strings, piano, guitar, and all of those things. Then Amapiano came. And initially, the first interpretation was, this is lazy people's music. I know it. But being who I also conditioned myself to be, I had to sit down. I started learning, what are they feeling about this thing? What are they really getting from it? And before you say they're Robinson, I got what they were getting. Then I started making Amapiano too, and I started enjoying it because it will always change. Amapiano is gradually drifting away, and new sounds are coming.
Yes, interesting. When people talk about you decades from now, what do you hope that they truly remember?
So, beyond the music that I've made, I also want them to look at the catalog of people that I raised. And when they look at the catalog of people that I raised, they should also look at the story that I try to tell about greatness, that it shouldn't stop with you. That whatever God has given to you to do, the goal is for you to be like, let me use a tree where different branches actually come from. Then they should also look at it from the part of, okay, this guy came, he didn't only give us music. Like what I do nowadays is I try to pour out. I want to pour out. I want to make people have that belief in themselves. And I also want to be remembered for reminding most of us that our purpose is beyond just what we are doing. It's more about the impact of what we are doing have on people, so that you don't get stuck trying to just do one thing. So
awesome. Thank you very much. This has been such an insight. I've learned a lot. You dropped so many punchlines. So the next session we're moving to is called Rapid Fire, where I'm just going to ask you random stuff, and then you say the first thing that jumps into your head. Yes. Okay. So streaming or live shows?
Live shows.
Okay. One artist that challenged you creatively?
One artist. Nice, Anola.
We got 2 for 1. Awesome. Let me push for that. Why did they challenge you?
So because we were creating something were creating novelty when I worked with them. I was trying to curate a new sound. Olamide was a major experiment, which was why we called his first album Rhapsody. We were doing this, we were doing that, high life, reggae.
Test run. Let's see which one will work.
Yeah.
Awesome. The biggest mistake upcoming artists make today?
Not giving their lawyer their contract to read
before they sign. Okay. Talent or discipline?
Discipline, 100%. Yeah.
One thing the industry glorifies too much?
Bad behavior.
Okay, people like that. Okay, one thing people underestimate about the music business?
Storytelling is one of those things.
Okay, what's harder, building talent or sustaining talent?
Sustaining talents. Yeah. Building them is easy, but sustaining them.
One lesson success taught you painfully?
That I should never trust success. Yeah, that is an event. It's not something that I should see as something as a destination. It's an event, and I have to even trust failing to learn more from them. Yeah.
Awesome. What keeps you grounded after all these years?
Well, so you asked the question, Ella, is my identity. Yeah, my
identity. If not music, what do you think you would have become?
Too many things.
In a different omniverse, let's see.
Probably a footballer.
There's money there, though.
Yeah, but I love football. Football.
Do you play actively?
I used to. But
Okay. Music or marketing, what matters more today?
Marketing. Yeah.
And what does scaling up mean to you personally?
I think it's growth, and I will explain. You know, where you are now, you have loads of control. And you have a certain level of success that I would say you can have in your hand. But to grow, you have to open up. You understand? Opening up to people coming in. You have to open up to, sharing part of the cake. And what that does, it actually gives you an exponential indices to your growth, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and as an economist, scaling is like upscaling, is still using scaling, upscaling whatever that you are doing. So for me, growth is actually what I will see it as.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in today. We've learned so much. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Scaling Up, powered by Ecobank Nigeria. A very big thank you to our guest, ID Cabasa, for his honest, insightful, and thoughtful nuggets. I'm pretty sure that once applied, you definitely see changes as you go on with your life and with your career. Big outfit shout out to the Georgia. They dressed me today, an upper class boutique for the accessories. Also, I'd like to say a very big thank you to our scent sponsor, House Bourgeoisie, for the nice diffusers on our set. Thank you very much. Until next time, I remain your host, Maima. We're scaling up.